heights. In the heights, I don't know the words well enough. Anyway, hello everybody. Thank you. Welcome back to my channel. I am the Struggling Alto, and I am here because I am struggling right now. I have a headache, my hair is frizzy. I just got my second dose of the vaccine, so I'm feeling tired. But you know what? Who cares about that, right? Because I am here to discuss In the Heights. I am so excited to talk about this film because I can't remember the last time I even saw a movie musical in the theater. So let's get into it. Now, as a lot of you know, In the Heights tells the story of an array of characters living in the neighborhood of Washington Heights in New York City. The musical's music and lyrics were written by Lin-Manuel Miranda, as most of you know from Hamilton and Disney's Moana, and the musical came out in 2008 and opened on Broadway that same year with critical acclaim, and it won the Tony Award for Best Musical that same year as well. It has now been adapted into a movie musical, so let's talk about it. Okay, first things first, I would just like to say that this movie is visually stunning, and I really can't say that enough. I mean, the way the director chose to enhance the musical numbers through visual storytelling is just world class and done in a way that I don't really think has ever been done before, at least not in a long time. And I don't just mean like the choreography either, which is also top notch, but the cinematography and the genius way he incorporates so many beautiful visuals into the music numbers and the story as a whole. It's just fantastic. And a great example of this is in the number 96,000, when the characters are basically like drawing out on the screen what they're singing about. So they're illustrating like, you know, what they would do if they won the lottery and won $96,000. So I thought that was just so cool, and it just like enhanced the movie musical because, you know, that can't be done on the stage. So I thought that was very, very clever. I mean, the way the musical was directed into a screen adaptation was just so cool and unique. And this leads into the thing that I loved most about this movie musical. And it's the fact that this movie didn't just feel like the stage version being filmed for the screen, if that makes sense. It really felt like its own unique thing, while still, of course, being faithful to the original source material. I honestly think that's where a lot of movie musicals fall apart, like, for example, Rent or Rock of Ages or Nine. I don't want to even think about Nine, but I really think that they were never shot in a way to enhance the original source material, you know, and tell the story in a new and innovative way for the screen. They were just more or less deciding to shoot the stage musical on location, which is great, but I just don't think it's enough to make a truly great movie musical. You have to say, how can we make this story even better? You know, how can we take advantage of this new visual medium that we have? How can we tell this story for the screen in a unique and interesting way? And I think In the Heights really does that. So yeah, I thought the director did a fantastic job. He incorporated so much color and light and sweeping shots of like the New York City streets and buildings and the skyline, and it just makes the story all the more epic and gorgeous. So yeah, I was basically just having a little giddy musical theater explosion the entire time I was in the theater watching this. Because it was just so good. And when I wasn't like squealing with joy, I was crying, and not just for the obvious reasons. Like, I was crying like tears of joy because I missed feeling that live experience. And I know it wasn't live, like it was in a movie theater, but I hadn't seen a great movie musical in so long. And like, for example, when Breathe came on and there's like climax in the song and like just the way the music swelled, like I was emotional a little bit for Nina, but mostly just because I was just like, I just missed musicals so much. And the director really knew how to make a great movie musical. So yeah, as you can tell, nothing but props to him. Oh yeah, also, if you can, go to the theater. I mean, as long as you feel comfortable going to the theater now, there's really nothing like a movie theater experience with this film. Much like Godzilla vs. Kong, the way that, like, the theater experience in both of these films really captures the full-scale, epic, gorgeous visuals is like no other. Oh, just like in Washington Heights, it's getting really hot in my room. Is there gonna be a blackout? So you can probably tell by now that I thoroughly enjoyed this movie, and it's definitely one of my favorite movie musicals of all time. No doubt my top 5. It's just so good. But let's now talk about some of the things I didn't love about this movie musical, and that is the fact that they honestly changed more than I would have liked. They changed more than I would have liked from the source material. So let's get into that. And both of these two major criticisms I have with the film are centered around Abuela Claudia. Okay, so this part does get into spoilers for the movie musical and the stage musical. So if you don't want to be spoiled, just go ahead and skip ahead to when the text disappears. Okay, so if you know about the movie musical or stage musical or just don't care about spoilers, here we go. Now, the main criticism I had with this film is the fact that Abuela Claudia dies not in the middle of Act 2, but during the blackout, and she sings her song Paciencia y Fe, which translates to patience and faith, by the way, right before she dies. Like, there's that number, and then she passes away. Now, my two problems with this is the fact that, one, this makes it very clear that she is going to die right after the number. They really set it up in that way. So the shocking reveal of her death that's in the stage production is no longer here. And I also didn't really love this because in the stage production, this number occurs in the middle of Act 1, Paciencia y Fe. It occurs fairly early on in the story. So you really get to know a lot more about her as a person and appreciate her story before she passes away later in the show, so much more in the stage production than in the movie musical. I just think her death during Act 2 in the stage production has so much more emotional weight, so I'm not really sure why they changed it. And since we don't hear this song in the movie until right before she dies, this just gives us less time to care about her character, so her death doesn't have the same emotional weight as it does in the stage musical, at least to me, in my opinion. And don't get me wrong, like, I still cried when she died because it was still very, very emotional, and you do still care about her character, but it would just have so much more of an impact to me if they kept the number where it originally was. That being said, the number was staged beautifully. The director and actress who played Abuela Claudia did such a good job during this performance, and I really liked that they did this whole dream sequence sort of thing. It was really, really cool, and again, the actress performed the hell out of this number. It was amazing. So nothing but praise on that front. The second thing I didn't really care for in this movie also involves Abuela Claudia, and it is the fact that Benny isn't the one who decides to have this mural. I can't say mural. Of course I can say now. It's the fact that Benny doesn't decide to have this mural made for Abuela Claudia. Instead, Vanessa is inspired by some rags that Graffiti Pete has, and this inspires her to make like a fashion line and surprise Usnavi in his shop right before he leaves. So yeah, it's a little different, and in the shop, you know, you see her fashion line, and there is a great tribute to like Usnavi's life in Washington Heights, and there is a mural celebrating Abuela Claudia, so that's great. But they didn't even have Benny included at all in this, which, guys, brings me to the second major issue I had with this film. Okay, I'm getting worked up. My hair's getting more insane. And it's the fact that Benny is pretty much non-existent towards the end of the film. In fact, his character kind of just drops off, which I hated. And Benny and Nina, but more so Benny, are basically cast aside as like secondary characters in the film. And I'm just over here in my seat like, bitch, why? Hello? Where did they go? Especially Benny, where did he go? The actor who plays Benny is just fantastic, and I think a star in the making. So I just do not understand why they cut out so much of Nina and Benny's story. I mean, they didn't have Benny learning Spanish. They cut the whole number Sunrise from the film. There wasn't the fight that broke out in the club before the blackout. And the whole conflict between Benny and Nina's father is completely cut out of the film. For those of you who don't know, there's a storyline in the stage version where Nina's dad doesn't really approve of Benny because he's not Latino. And I just think that these storylines that were cut out was such a shame because they give Benny's character so much more layers and depth. Anyway, it's just a shame that the actor who played Benny didn't get more of a chance to shine like I know he deserves, and the character of Benny is so good anyway. I'm guessing they probably cut a lot of these things for the sake of runtime because the movie is like 2 hours and 23 minutes. So I understand to a degree, but it's just a shame because those were such good stories. Okay, guys, it's now approaching dangerously hot in my room. I think there will be a blackout. Okay, that being said, I really love this film, and for the most part, the changes they made, I either loved, like Usnavi telling his story of Washington Heights to the children at the beach. I thought that was really cool. Or at the very least, I didn't mind the changes they made, you know? Oh, and I really did love the actress who plays Vanessa. I thought she was so well cast, and her number, It Won't Be Long Now, was acted beautifully. It was directed beautifully. Like, I can't say enough about like the visual storytelling in this film, as you can tell. Another great musical number. So there you go. That was my review of In the Heights. For the most part, I really loved it. Again, like I said, top 5 favorite movie musicals of all time. You guys, you gotta see it. Even if you're not like a huge musical theater person, it's not completely sing through, so you do get like the break from all the musical numbers. I don't know why you'd want to break from them because they're amazing. Like I said before, it's definitely in my top 5 favorite movie musicals of all time. And if you want me to make like a list or something of my favorite movie musicals of all time, please let me know in the comments. In general, I just want to start covering more movie musicals in general, talk about the ones I loved, the ones I hated, why I hated them or why I loved them, or just general commentaries on some great movie musicals out there. So yeah, and please don't be afraid to subscribe if you want more musical theater content like this. And yeah, I hope to see you guys next time. I'll catch you later. Bye.